Hey guys, welcome back to OC Outdoorsman. Well, it's been a while since I've uploaded a video to YouTube, and that's mainly because fishing has been horrible this past month and a half or so. So I figured, you know what, let's do a video on cigars. And here's one that I've been reading about, the Hoyo de Monterey. I've always wanted to try this brand. This is the Excalibur. There's another one I want to try. It's the Epicure. But this is going to be my first time smoking this particular cigar. And I figured, you know what, this might be a good opportunity to show you how to properly light a cigar. I mean, it sounds pretty straightforward if you have a torch lighter. And that's all I use when I'm out fishing on my kayak. But when I'm at home, I prefer to use either these wood matches, these long stem ones, or I use a traditional butane lighter. You'll see it's kind of hard to use out here, but it's kind of sheltered in this area, so I might be able to use hopefully one or the other, the matches or the soft flame lighter. Now the reason I prefer to use soft flame lighters versus the torch whenever I can is because the temperatures aren't as high. When you use torch lighters, they can really char and burn the foot of your cigar when you light it up. And that results in a harsh, bitter taste when you first start smoking a cigar. But when you use either a match or these soft flame, these traditional butane lighters, it will take longer, you'll see, to light up the cigar, but the flavors, the tobacco will taste so much better. It makes for a much more enjoyable smoke. So let's see if I can get away with lighting my cigar using a match first. Let's try that first. And you'll see that you really don't have to puff on it right away when you're doing it, when you're using this method. So you want to start just by rotating the cigar around the flame. And you could actually put it in the flame compared to a torch lighter where, okay, I don't know if I'll be able to do this. With torch lighters, you want to avoid the flame because they're just so hot. All right, let's try this. This is going to be tough. Hold on. Let's try it inside the garage for a little bit. Yeah, this is much better. Okay, again, you can see I'm actually in the flame. You go in the flame or just above it. But you'll see, I just want to gently turn the cigar around the flame. Uh-oh, here comes the wind. Just let the tip of the flame kiss the foot of the cigar. Just lightly blow on the tip to get the flame to catch a bit. So as you can see, it does take a little longer, but it's definitely worth the wait. But this is the proper way to light a fine cigar. So you want to evenly spread the heat around the cigar like so. See, it's starting to settle in here a bit. And again, these traditional lighters, the butane lighters like this, the non-torch lighters, are a lot less hot than the torch lighters. So it does take it's a little bit more work to light a cigar this way. There you go. Now, before you take your first puff, again, you want to blow the impurities out. And look at that. This is perfect. Nice and even burn. Now, you can start puffing away. Wow, this is a smooth cigar. See now, generally when you light a cigar with a torch, with one of those high, oh here, I have one right here, let me show you. If you're using one of these bad boys, the temperatures for these torch lighters can exceed 2,000 degrees Fahrenheit, so they are super hot. So you want to avoid placing your cigar directly into the flame of these torch lighters. Instead, you want to hold the cigar above the flame, as I'm doing here. And that will minimize the amount of burn that your cigar suffers. And you definitely want to keep blowing the impurities out, because it will burn a lot of the filler tobacco inside of the cigar. So it makes for a more harsh, unpleasant smoke initially, compared to when using the soft flame lighter like I did earlier. Wow, this is so good. I can tell you right away, I'm liking this Excalibur, and generally you get the best experience out of your cigars towards the last third of it. Alright, so these are great when you're outdoors fishing on your kayak, wherever. These torch lighters can't be beat. They're windproof. But if you're using them, always try to stay above the flame. Don't put your cigar in the flame of these torch lighters. You will burn it. You could ruin a cigar that way. You want to stay above the flame. But yeah, it will be a harsher smoke in the beginning, and then it mellows out as you start smoking. But when you use the softer flames, whether it's the traditional lighter like this one, or oh, let me get the matches. One thing to remember when lighting a cigar with these long stem matches is when you first light up, all right, you see that? Let the phosphorus burn off first before you place the flame to your cigar, because that phosphorus is pretty harsh and bitter, and you don't want that part of the flame touching your cigar. So you want to burn that off before you start lighting up. So just remember that if you are using these long stem matches to light your cigars. Let the phosphorus burn off before you place that flame anywhere near your cigar. Again, it's all about the flavor. You don't want any of that, the phosphorus or any other chemicals getting into your cigar when you light it up. I had to reposition the camera here because I'm quickly losing light, but here's just another quick tip. When it comes to refilling your lighters, be sure to use premium butane. This for torch lighters like this, or for soft flame lighters like I used earlier, but this happens to be Jetline. However, there are other really good manufacturers of pure butane fuel refills. Colibri makes it, Cigar, but stay away from the cheap butane refills that you might find like at a gas station. You'll often find chemicals and other impurities in that sort of refill or butane. This happens to be 5 times refined, so you're going to get really clean burning fuel from a brand like this. So highly recommend that. It will make a difference in the quality of your smoke. All right, as you can see, I'm now getting the final third of my cigar, or final quarter actually, and I've already removed the label, because when it comes to a really good quality cigar like this, you want to smoke as much of it as possible. So I'll probably smoke this one down to the nub. So that's a pretty good indicator. If you see that I'm smoking a cigar and I leave the label on when I approach the last third of it, chances are it's not a very good cigar. But for one like this, I'm gonna smoke this one all the way down. And I never once had to relight the cigar, because again, I kept the ash on the entire time. And that will help prevent the need to relight these guys. So again, this is the Hoyo de Monterey Excalibur. Great cigar. Hey guys, it's the first weekend in February. And I'm here at Irvine Lake, and check out the water levels. As you can see, we've been getting a lot of rains lately. And this is the best I've ever seen of this lake as far as water depth is concerned. Look, it's going all the way into here. The docks are over there, and the water levels are way up. This is great. However, because of there's more water on the surface of the lake, it's going to be much more difficult to find these trout, because now they can scatter all over the place. So I don't know how well the fishing is going to be, but it's kind of nice to see the water levels back up. Yeah, check out the distance from the dock to the outhouse there. It's about 10 yards. Yeah, before the rains, this dock was maybe 50 yards further out. I mean, the water levels were that low. So it was a hike to get from the dock all the way to the outhouse. And now it's maybe 10 yards. It's super close. Yeah, the water levels are up again. That's really nice. And we're expecting more rains tomorrow, so it's promising. All right, since the fishing's pretty slow, let's take a closer look at my rig. Well, first of all, this is how I fish Irvine Lake. I always take a bike, and then this is that fishing backpack that I recently purchased, and as you know, it is insulated, so this can also double as a cooler. You can see the thickness of the insulation here, and it's pretty roomy. So I have a spare rod holder that I keep in here, along with my two tackle boxes. But here you can see, here's a better look at the rod holders. So there's two of them, one here, that one's empty, and then here's where I store the other one. And this is great for this lake because I could just put this on my back and ride my bike straight down and not have to carry these rods by hand. So that's a huge selling point for this fishing backpack. And then you can see I have my fish grippers, a rag, the de-hooker, and angler scissors. There are 4 pockets here, 2 on each side of this backpack, but let's take a closer look at what I store in my tackle boxes. So in this first one, this is pretty much dedicated to mice tails. And you'll see here, I have all the different power worms, and well, there's green, I have orange, pink, this is cheese. This worked really well at Lake Mission Viejo, but I have all the different colors here, chartreuse. And then I also have some drop shot weights in here. I have some spares here, tungsten, but there are a bunch in here. Along with, well, let's just work my way down. All of my mosquito hooks. As you know, I like to use number 10s now for mice tails. But I have size 8 and size 6 and other sizes here, along with, of course, my Bite on Garlic scent. And then I have the whole assortment of power eggs. Again, I like to build my own mice tails, although I do have certain combinations that are popular that are pre-made, like this one here. Pink and white is really big at Laguna Niguel Lake. But generally, I don't use pre-made mice tails. I like to build them myself. So yeah, it's really important to have a good variety of colors when it comes to mice tail fishing. And then, of course, I have the different size sliding egg sinkers, from light to heavy. And then, of course, you can't do without the barrel swivels if you're going to be using Carolina rigs. And that's how I typically set up my mice tails, Carolina rigs. So that is it for one tackle tray. Pretty much I use this for mice tails. This one is dedicated to a couple of other things, mainly power bait. So I have all sorts of scents and colors for power bait. If you haven't tried these pre-rolled ones, these are pretty cool. This is rainbow. So if you're in a rush, you could just pull one out of here and rig it up. And then I have the scooper. Corn is really big. It's a really popular scent for power bait. So I have all the different scents here. But I've also mixed in a number of other things. For bobber fishing, I have all sorts of bobbers here. And then for mice tails, sorry, not mice tails, for mini jigs, I have all sorts of colors and styles of mini jigs in here. I also like to keep an assortment of sliding egg sinkers as well as all of my treble hooks, since with power bait you want to use the smaller treble hooks for that type of fishing. I also have all of these guys, the knots for my slip bobber fishing. Gosh, it escapes me right now. Along with the beads that you need for the slide bobbers. Gosh, I can't remember what that is. The terminology. It'll come to me. And then I also have an assortment of spoons from Thomas Buoyant that you're seeing in here, to all of the different rooster tails and crankbaits, and then all of the different size hooks as well. If I want to do any night crawler fishing, I like using these smaller bait holder hooks. And of course, if you're fishing with night crawlers, you're going to need an inflator. So everything else with respect to trout fishing is in this tackle box, versus this one, which is mainly for mice tails. So there you have it. I only need 2 tackle boxes when it comes to trout fishing, and it holds everything that you'll really need to catch rainbow trout. No, it's all right. It's small. Yeah, thanks. You guys want them?
I'm good, thank you.
Okay. There you go, on a spoon. I'm gonna release this guy. There you go. I don't know what it is about this. This is like a frog or a toad pattern, but I've caught lightnings and rainbow on this thing. They seem to like it. Maybe it's the gold bottom. Alright, since the fishing is slow, let me show you another time-saving best practice, if you will, when it comes to trout fishing. So you may have seen this in one of my other videos. I use this for fly fishing as well as for saltwater, but I also have one of these rig wallets for freshwater trout fishing. And what I've done here is I've pre-tied a number of rigs. You can see that this pocket holds 10 Ziploc bags where I like to keep my pre-tied rigs. And that first one, and pull this one out. Here is for double drop shots. So you can see a barrel swivel on one end, And then, yeah, the thing with these double drop shots is they can get a bit tangled, so you need to be careful when you pull them out of this wallet. Yeah, I recommend that when you pre-tie these rigs, you only keep one per bag, especially with these double drop shots. When you have two hooks on the line, it can get pretty messy, as you can see here. So from the barrel swivel, I have about 10 inches to the first number 8 mosquito hook. Let me see if you can see that there. And then between that first hook and the second hook, I have a good 16 to 18 inches to the second number 8 mosquito hook. And then from there, I have about 8 to 10 inches, and that's where I'll tie my or attach my drop shot weight. But these things take a while to tie together, so I like to have them pre-rigged so that when I get to the lake, all I have to do is pull it out of this wallet and attach it to my main line. It's a tremendous time-saving hack, if you will. And then I'll just store it back into this wallet like so for safekeeping. So that's the first one, double drop shot rig. And I have several of them. I think I have 5 of them pre-tied. In case I ever lose one, I'll just go back in and pull out the next one. The next item I have here pre-rigged is my micetail. As you know, I like to use, well, when fishing micetails, I always use a Carolina rig. So here, I have this one pre-tied. So at the very end, I should put this in the sun. Yeah, that's easier to see. On one end, I have the barrel swivel. Then I have about, it goes between 12, I have different lengths tied between 12 and 16 inches to the number 10 owner hook, mosquito hook. And that's really it. So one end goes to the main line where I'll have a sliding egg sinker. And then this one happens to be about 16 inches to the mosquito hook, where I'll then tie on the micetail. Here, I have one right here. I could just put on the power egg. Okay, remember, this is number 10. And then I'll hook it all the way through up to the leader line. See that? Just above it. And then I'll attach the power worm. Again, you want to make sure that you have enough hook exposed so that when a trout nibbles on it, you can set that hook. So I'll just put on the very tip there like so. And then I'll slide the egg back onto the shank of the hook. And look at that. See, plenty of hook exposed. And now I just have to attach that barrel swivel to the main line where I'll have the sliding egg sinker, and I'm good to go. So that is my mouse tail rig. So going back to my wallet, the next one I have is a power bait rig, and I'm just gonna yank this one out of the wallet, show you what it looks like. So very similar to the mice tail, but instead of a mosquito hook, I have, let's see, I think this is number 12 or number 15 treble, really tiny treble hook on one end of my leader. Then I have about 12 to 16 inches of fluorocarbon line, and that's attached to the barrel swivel, which then goes to my main line where I have a sliding egg sinker. Again, that's a Carolina rig. But really, so when I get to the water, all I'm doing is hooking this up to the main line, putting on some power bait and throwing it out. So it's a really great way to save time. You're not going to have to spend a lot of time tying these rigs on a boat or on your kayak or on the shoreline trying to set up. Everything is pre-rigged. All you have to do is tie it on and you're good to go. I have several of those pre-tied rigs right in here in this handy wallet. I'll put a link in the description. Yeah, if you do this in advance, you're gonna spend more time fishing and less time tying knots and rigging things up. So there's your tip of the day for trout fishing.